My name is Tytar Jr. Today, we will be looking at and analyzing the Battlefield 2042 Portal mode that was just announced today. I will be covering what we saw, what was said, and what you can expect out of this screenshot right here and why it should excite all Battlefield fans and for those that have never played the franchise before. If you end up liking what you see here today, be sure to engage with this video with a like, comment, and subscribe, as Battlefield 2042 will be a major role in this channel going forward, but I also cover other gaming content from Anno, Sims, Smash Ultimate, Warcraft, and gaming in general. So I've played Battlefield since Battlefield 1942, but my go-to game was Battlefield 3. But I cannot even begin to describe my excitement when I saw this in the reveal trailer. Essentially, Battlefield Portal is a custom game modes mode that is so much more than your run-of-the-mill custom games server option. It's going to feature all of the 2042 content that comes with the base game, as well as assets and models pulled directly from 1942, Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3. From my understanding, it will also feature some, if not all, the weapons and gadgets from those games as well, including vehicles like planes, tanks, jeeps, etc.
So what you just saw was the Battlefield Portal. It's a new community-driven experience that gives players the freedom to write their own rules and shape their own battlefield. You can mix and match content from Battlefield 1942, Bad Company 2, BF3, and Battlefield 2042 to create brand new game modes.
This is going to be a separate section of the game where players can host pre-made custom game modes made by DICE and by the player base. One example I thought of off the top of my head after watching the trailer was a World War II battalion of 64 players gets transported to the future. They have all their gear they'd have, but they have to fight against a small squadron of 5 from the future, and they too have all their gear. Or an obscure example would be Team Tanks versus Team Planes. Now we're going to take a brief look at this editor. I think it's important that those that are looking at the Battlefield Portal mode not only partake in the custom games that will be created, but also be able to create some yourselves. Obviously, we don't have our hands on this. I figured I could lay out some of what you're seeing here so you can know how to navigate around the Portal mode on day one. So as you can see here, you've got event, condition, action. This is why it's going to be so powerful. Let's just take a look at this one example and see what possibilities there are. Take what I'm saying with a pinch of salt, of course, as we don't know what properties we can modify yet. From what I'm seeing here, this is saying when a player enters the match, if that player is for insert team here, set that player's current weapon to insert weapon here. Again, we don't know what options we have, but imagine an example where the moment a player steps into a certain zone, say a King of the Hill zone, which is a very basic event to have in a mode like this, mind you, you could mod the current weapon of the player to be a 2042 weapon rather than a World War II one. Meaning maybe every player starts with a World War II weapon, but then when they get to the top of the hill, they have a 2042 weapon and they have to maintain the zone. Something to that effect. Or a racing game mode where one team spawns in random vehicles at one end of the map and their goal is to drive to the other side, while the other team has to stop them at all costs. Or you could have a 1 versus 64 player game where everyone has a knife except one with a pistol. If you die by the pistol, you respawn on the pistol team and you too have a pistol.
So I'm curious, how wild can we actually get with Portal?
You can get pretty wild.
Yeah? Okay, so can I pit World War II against 2042?
Yes, you can.
Okay, what about game modes? Can I make an infection mode where it's me against a ton of super fast soldiers with knives?
Absolutely.
From what I gathered, they were saying it was so detailed that you could go as far as modding health, disabling prone, and forcing players to only use a certain weapon type. The amazing part about this is they were saying this tool has only ever been used and been available for them. So it's very possible we will have some really in-depth options. Game mode looks incredibly exciting and I cannot wait for it. I just hope DICE lives up to how good it's actually looking. I would hate for EA to pull an EA move again and mess things up. Now, aside from how fun this sounds and looks, this has an amazing and positive news for the Battlefield franchise as a whole, and here's why. The Battlefield franchise has been trying to create an esports scene since Battlefield 3, maybe even sooner. DICE has tried to implement this, but has failed again and again at getting the fundamentals right. Something like this would allow the players to easily create the pro scene that DICE cannot seem to capture. For those of you who have watched my content for a while, you know I'm a veteran Warcraft 3 map map maker. Now, Battlefield 2042 doesn't allow for custom maps or item placement, but it does have a logic editor, and that is far more powerful than being able to place items. I'm sure most of you have heard of League of Legends before. That game was a direct inspiration from the game Dota, a custom game made inside the Warcraft 3 World Editor tool. Still, to this day, I and many others still make Warcraft 3 games because the editor is so detailed. You can practically create whatever type of game you want. When you allow your players to build and sculpt game modes like this, you ultimately create a product that will live on for more than just your standard 1 to 2 year lifespan for these shooter games. As long as DICE doesn't pull an EA, which is still possible, this will be one of the biggest moves Battlefield has ever seen. But all in all, I think this was an absolutely amazing reveal, and I certainly am excited for this game to come out. If you liked the vid, definitely subscribe. It would mean a lot to me, and this channel has been growing a ton every day. Like I said, Battlefield 2042 will be one of the main topics I cover, but I also cover other gaming content like Anno, Sims, Smash Ultimate, Warcraft, and gaming in general. Thanks so much, guys. Until next time, I'll see you later.